Shalom again. This is Stuart Darman into Faithfulness, where we're building bridges, where history builds walls. And today I just want to share with you another taste from Shulchan Shelanu, our table, which is our Shabbat home discussion guide, something meant to enrich your household spirituality. You know, during this whole COVID pandemic, a lot of us are staying home quite a bit more. And a lot of our fellowship is with smaller groups rather than going to the big meeting. Well, how can we enrich your spiritual diet as you stay home? Well, that's what Shulchan Shelanu was for. And I wanted to give you a taste of it and give you a chance also to get a free copy of Shulchan Shelanu at the end of this little presentation. So let me show you what it looks like. I'm going to show you this week's copy of Shulchan Shelanu. It comes to you every Thursday night as a PDF in your mail. And here's what this week's Shulchan Shelanu looks like. It's coming up. There you go, little baby. There's Shulchan Shelanu. And there we are. And here is the top of the front page. I'll make it a little smaller so you can see all of it. That's what it looks like when it comes to you. It's a multi-page document with different features in it. And it's meant to stimulate discussion. It's not for you to study at the table. It's Friday night when you're meeting with your family. You're not about to study anything. You might want to discuss something, and that's what this is for. It's to discuss. And it always starts out with a Torah reading. So let's look at the Torah reading and see what kind of a theme emerges. Here is part of our Torah reading for the synagogues tomorrow. If someone among you is needy, one of your brothers, in any of your towns, in your land, which Adonai your God is giving you, you are not to harden your heart or shut your hand from giving to your needy brother. No, you must open your hand to him and lend him enough to meet his need and enable him to obtain what he wants. Guard yourself against allowing your heart to entertain the mean-spirited thought that because the seventh year, the year of Shemitah, is at hand, you would be stingy towards your needy brother and not give him anything. For then he may cry out to Adonai against you, and it will be your sin. Shemitah was the name for the seventh year of 7-year cycles, and every seventh year, all debts were forgiven. So suppose somebody comes to you in the 6th year and they want to borrow some money from you because they're in bad straits. He says, don't let your heart be hardened. Don't be grudging and say, well, look, the 7th year is almost here. In another 6 months, this guy is just going to say, I don't owe you anything anymore. He says, don't be grudging. It will be your sin. Rather, you must give to him, and you are not to be grudging when you give to him. If you do this, Adonai your God will bless you in all your work and everything you undertake, for there will always be poor people in the land. That is why I'm giving you this order. You must open your hand to your poor and needy brother in the land. Well, this issue of Shulchan Shelanu is all about generosity. Generosity. Here, first question. Here we are told that we must help our needy fellow wherever he may be. This is an imperative, a command. But what is said in verse 8 that puts some sort of limit on this mandate? And here it is, verse 8. No, you must open your hand to him and lend him enough to meet his need and enable him to obtain what he wants. So there is a cultural imperative on people to pay back what they've been lent. So you're supposed to lend it to him. It's not just a question of giving it to him. It's a question of lending it to him. Hold on for a moment while I get back to where we are. Just 1 second. So you need to lend it to him, not just give it to him. And that's where our discussions begin in this issue of Shulchan Shelanu. And as we go on in Shulchan Shelanu, we explore this from a whole bunch of different angles. Let's continue looking here. If we go further in the issue, in addition to the questions we ask, we have an article here called Morsels. Morsels is a little something else to add to your diet. It says here, one of the controversies in our day concerns our attitude towards the poor. In many societies, the obligation to help the poor resides only in the poor themselves and in their families. And sad but true, there's a strong tradition of blaming the poor based on a bootstraps expectation. Some apply a Darwinesque mentality, believing in the survival of the fittest, with the poor dying off, or through eugenics, being kept from reproducing. All of this is utterly contradicted by the Jewish tradition's approach to dealing with poverty. The tradition of Jewish philanthropy is millennia old and miles deep. An ancient tradition held tzedakah, that is, charity, was slumbering, and Abraham aroused it. How did he do it? He built an inn with openings in every direction, and he would receive wayfarers. In Judaism, we look at Abraham as a person who was conspicuously generous. So this whole issue of Shulchan Shelanu is about generosity, about the problems of showing generosity in our day. How do you keep from being taken advantage of? All of these questions are dealt with, and it makes for some very spicy discussion around your table, I promise you. Now, I'd like to give you a chance to see what Shulchan Shelanu looks like. So let me show you something. I'm going to give you an opportunity to get a free copy of Shulchan Shelanu. And here's how you do it. Go to www.interfaithfulness.org/Shulchan. www.interfaithfulness.org/Shulchan. When you do that, you'll come to a page which tells you how to subscribe to Shulchan Shelanu. But even if you don't subscribe, down there on the page towards the left-hand side, you'll see a link where you can get a free copy. You can get a copy of the Shulchan Shelanu that I was sharing with you just now. You can get it by going here to www.interfaithfulness.org/Shulchan. And then, maybe in your own home, print it out, pass it out, talk it out, see how it works for you. I want you to have a copy of Shulchan Shelanu. So again, you might even want to give someone Shulchan Shelanu. You might want to subscribe for yourself, for your family. You might want to get a gift of Shulchan Shelanu for your rabbi, because I promise you, Shulchan Shelanu will enrich his teaching and his preaching. So give someone Shulchan Shelanu by going to www.interfaithfulness.org/Shulchan. This issue is all about generosity, about how can we show it? What are the various gradations of generosity? Maimonides talked about 8 different levels of generosity. I talk about this in this copy of Shulchan Shelanu. It's fascinating stuff, and I want to share it with you, so you know where to go, and I'll be with you next week again and talk to you more about Shulchan Shelanu. Meanwhile, gift it to someone by going to www.interfaithfulness.org/Shulchan. And let me wish you right now a good Shabbat Shalom. Bye-bye for now.